Welcome everyone in today's session of Gpat tutorial Achiever'S talk. So first of all, Atreyee, congratulations on your
Thank you.
well-deserved success. You have qualified Gpat with a rank of 29 and NIPER with a rank of 13, and you have made all of us proud. So we all know that this success beholds a lot of painful days and a lot of upcomings, which will be again good for the future, but it leaves behind a lot of trail that you have actually worked hard so much to get this success. So if we start initially, how was your preparation for GPAT, or how was your thought process from the beginning to get into these parts of GPAT? That how will you prepare for GPAT, and then when from you learn that there is an examination, we have to walk through it and all this.
So when I got admitted into B Farm in the year 2019, first year, I learned from my seniors that after B Farm, you have the option of going for an M Farm, and for that you have to clear GPAT. And hence I began looking from how to start, and I got some orientation from the seniors also. Some teachers also guided us. And hence I got to know that there is GPAT, and after qualifying GPAT, you have to sit for NIPER, and after that your future is some type of set, I will say. So I had a very bad track record of entrance examinations because I was a NEET dropper for a year and I couldn't crack NEET. Hence I was in that depression that I had to crack an entrance exam to prove my worth and something like that. So it was like I had to do it. So after that, I thought I got from my seniors that I have to join coaching, or if I can from the second year itself. So when I started GPAT, I started my GPAT coaching from Gpat tutorial. So at the time of when COVID set in the time of lockdown, I joined Gpat tutorial because the college classes were not up to the mark for me, but for the Gpat preparation, I thought. So I thought of having a guidance, and I joined Gpat tutorial. There, the online classes gave my study routine basically. There were classes and there were routine mock tests which gave me a structure. And the the online classes were very nice, very interactive. I could clear my concepts from the Gpat tutorial online class itself, and the motivating environment over there. Even in an online environment, when the teachers were speaking to us, there were personal interaction, they were inquiring about our problems, and the class, and they stressed on standard books, reading of standard books from the first days. But I never, even in the last day of preparation, I never read any material. Everything was from standard books. And their lectures, their PPTs, whatever they used to give, were all based on the standard books. The thing was that whenever I used to attend the lecture, and after that when I used to come back home and read the books, I could recollect that this was taught in the lecture. It was very easy for me to read those vast books. We all know how much vast and how much difficult it is to actually read the standard books for the first time. So Gpat tutorial made it very easy, I would say. And hence began, and the faculties were very nice. They supported me at every stage. Whenever I had doubts, not only me, any student of the coaching, say be it an average student or a very good student, everybody was treated equally. Everybody's doubts, if anybody was feeling low, personal attention was also given. So Gpat tutorial helped me, I would say, because I went berserk in that online time. I didn't know which direction I was going. So this Gpat tutorial at that time, joining Gpat tutorial was the best decision I could take.
Great to hear from you, Atreyee. And I think this is always, once you start sailing, you need someone at the back to guide you through which route you should go.
Yes.
And I think Gpat Tutorial had been a great mentor for you. Okay, now coming back to important things, you mentioned that they actually focused on the standard books during the preparation. So how was the last 6 months of your preparation, especially when you are focusing on these informative subjects like pharmacology or pharmaceutics, where you have a lot to study? How was their mentorship regarding these things?
So I joined in second year, fourth sem. So till from the last 6 months before GPAT, the syllabus was completed. So we had ample preparation, ample time for prepare ourselves. So what I did, I made up a team, and I targeted reading finishing the major subjects first. Ecology is a subject which every student is comfortable with. It is very interesting and it relates to daily life. You see medicines and all. So ecology was a bit easier to grasp for me. I thought that everybody will know ecology very nicely, so I started to take stress more on syntax and chemistry. So going with pharmaceutics first, but I would say pharmaceutical technology, physical pharmacy, and biopharmacy. These three subjects are like will comprise around 28 out of the 30 questions you get. So I focused first on those. For pharmaceutical technology, I did attachment just as it was stressed by my institute. That's my only attachment. We went through all the tables, all the charts, every information which was given. And I actually focused on a question driven approach. Whenever my process was, I used to listen to the lecture of Gpat tutorial. Then I used to come back home, read that, recollect what was taught in the class, underline those. Then I would go for questions. What questions would come from that chapter? I couldn't care whether I could answer those or not. I would see the questions. Then again I would read that chapter and see those questions and also frame my own questions from the examiner's point of view. If I was the examiner, how would I frame the questions? I would do that. And that actually completed the whole chapter for me. I was very lazy in making notes, so I would write it in the book itself. I would mark it with different colored pens or with a pencil. Whenever you should take a pencil and sit for studying, I guess, for marking, because the next time it becomes easier to study. For pharmaceutics, I did that. For physical pharmacy, I would say focus on marking. And for this year, I would recommend, as you have seen, 2023, it was a different pharmaceutics paper because dispensing pharmacy came for the first time, I would say, around 5 to 6 places, both in Gpat and Hyper. Dispensing pharmacy is something which should not be ignored from this year because a lot of questions like identity problems, allegation, matrices, then that powder perceptor, a lot of things came from dispensing pharmacy. Then the jurisprudence was something which we actually noticed in the minor subjects this year. But jurisprudence, I would say, somebody has next time in that last 6 months, I would recommend to read the schedules which I did, the schedules, the forms, the members, all those, but not delve deep into it. Every year, questions will come from schedules, from the members, from those forms, nothing more, and the years. And for me, there was a material provided by Gpat tutorial. For that only, I studied that thing because I had less time, so I studied that. And after that, these are pretty much the subjects of pharmaceutics. For pharmaceutical chemistry, Gpat tutorial again, because their classes, I was very weak in isomerism in my classes there as well. But here in Gpat tutorial, the faculty taught very well. I could actually grasp the concept, the basic. They taught from the IUPAC exactly, and they went to heterocycles. But the classes were tremendous, I would say. Not only for me, for my friends also. The organic chemistry classes were very nice. It cleared every concept of mine, and so I followed their classes, and then there were weekly mock tests of Gpat tutorial. Hence, I solved their mock tests, and they actually practice. And also some YouTube videos where of 11-12 channels. I followed for that. For organic, it's the main thing because organic around 20 questions will come from organic. For that, you have to actually, for someone who is weak in organic, I would recommend reading the name reactions because 2 to 3 questions name reaction, direct questions will come. Nobody will ask mechanisms. And heterocyclic naming, isomerase, isomers. So this will comprise not. It is not very difficult, but you have to practice. That's the thing. And inorganic chemistry, whatever is said done in the college is enough. For physical chemistry, class 11 12 concepts are enough. Nothing more is asked. It is not very difficult. And pharmaceutical chemistry, and for pathology, everybody knows KD is the standard. I also followed KD, no other. And for KD, if you classification, very important classification, 5 to 6 questions done, 5 to 6. Then you should read the mechanism of action, the adverse effects. Then the small fruit, it is not possible to actually remember every detail about every drug. It is a very vast book. Everybody is scared of that, I have seen. And so what you can do, what I used to do, same thing as pharmaceutics. Listen to the lecture, come back, see, I did that. What I would like to say is to stress on the chemical classification, I would say. I was someone who was very weak in medicine. So what I did, I used to study the clinical classification of KD. Small points which are written there beside the drugs, like which one is tetracyclic, which one is tetracyclic benzofuran, like that. Some around 4 to 5 questions will come in medicine. You can easily answer 2 to 3 questions from that chemical classification of KD. You don't have to open the Wilson list of medchem. You can do that. Many students I know are taking medicinal chemistry, so this is one hack I would say. For KD, read the KD part, chemical classification, that first line is very properly. You can answer the questions of medchem from that. And for so many drugs are given, you can just underline the specific points of the drugs. Nobody will ask you how half of any drug or anything. Just remember the specific points, like which drug has capacity limited metabolism, which anti-cancer drug has disulfide, like this. Specific points you should underline in the book itself. And I would recommend never make separate copies for subjects. If you have a habit of making notes, make one register, fat register, do everything in one that you do. Because when you sit for revision the last 6 or 3 months, you won't have time to go and see every copy you have done. Make one copy, one fat one, refer to that, and make small crisp notes, I would say. That then comes cognosy part. Cognosy part, again, Gpat tutorial, I would say. Their classes of, I would like to mention here, cognosy classes are not. The faculty here teaches so interesting, and you would want to listen to that class. I remember in our time, we used to wait for that 7 p.m. class. When would it happen? Because the faculty used to teach us like stories. Everything was story, and he used to teach us like a story, but used to tell us that because it is a very polar time and very vast subject, what we can do is the smart way. We should do the smart way. That last 15 years questions you see, whatever questions have come from the cognosy part, then you structure your study according to those questions. I had done a very selective study of cognosy. I had taken up that last 15 years questions of cognosy, what it has been advised. So I took up which drug alkaloid, which glycoside, which tannin is being asked. What general pharmacognosy part I have seen, it is very important in the last 5 to 6 years. A lot of questions are coming from general pharmacognosy part, like types of stomata, calcium oxalate, then moisture content. It is something. So I guess you should focus on that part of general introduction to pharmacognosy part is very important. After that, you see the alphabet that last 15 years, you see what questions came, structure your study according to that, and also solve a lot of questions, I would say. Because the more questions you solve and the more mistakes you make, I would say, the more mistakes you make, the more you remember. If you make a mistake, you will remember it for the rest of your life. Even when you see if you see that questions coming in that final exam, feel that you can make that mistake. So I remember during my Gpat, the last day I had made a mistake in that IB/IBC correlation. Last day, like 22nd was Gpat, 21st I made that mistake, and 22nd it came in the paper. I was very surprised and thankful at the same time. Making mistakes helped me. And lastly, I would say don't ignore the minor subjects. They may seem that okay, 10 to 11 questions come, we no need to read it, but I would say obviously study because you never know what questions are coming. In suppose if you falter in chemistry or some questions come like rocket science level in topology or cognosy, those minor subjects will help you. Microbiology, very, very basic. I would say listen to your college or your coaching whatever. But my here always Gpat will comes in. Their classes help me. That is it, pretty much it.
Great. Atreyee, great to have a overall, especially focusing on all these subjects. And how was your preparation with the subject, especially in the last 6 months or in the overall period of time you had prepared for the GPAT examination? Now, Archie, coming to important things which I had actually understood during your preparation is that you practice a lot of MCQs also, right? And you mentioned that these MCQs which you practice, even the last day of the examination, one of the MCQs did come in the exam. So your strategy was to, after you do the MCQ question and answer, then you will go back to the book and then you will really dig up from where the question did come and then you will actually look for it, right? So, as per we have GPAT Tutorial have a question bank, you have it, and
Yes.
how was that useful to you?
That question bank I practiced to the last day. That question bank was from every other than the question bank, every weekly mock test which used to happen. I used to attend that. I was very regular in mock tests. I used to attend that, and every mistake which used to come, I would get back that there was a tutorial in this tutorial. There was a helpline sort of where you can give your doubts and they are answered by one week. And so every week I would come back and see my mistakes and I would ask them. And they used to solve my doubts. You
Okay.
can see, and I would, and on the last 3 months, you should give full length mock test from the last 3 months because even if you have completed or revised 50% of the syllabus, you should start with the mock test because until and unless you have that habit of 3 hours sitting and solving a full length paper, that confidence won't come. And you have to have the habit of solving questions, not only that question bank or chapter wise. That full length mock test for the last 3 months practice actually helped me. But I remember when I started my first mock test, I was actually 50% syllabus was also completed. I scored 180 out of 500. It's a very, very low score. I was extremely demotivated, but I did not stop. Initially the marks will be less, but as you keep on doing it, I practiced every day. The last 3 months, and exactly I had 108 mock tests. I had given full length. From first day it was 180, but in the last day, the day before the GPAT exam, I scored 360 out of 500. So you should never step back. If you have low marks, don't think that okay, I am scoring 180, then final exam I will also score like this, nothing will happen. Don't do like that. You should solve questions, see your marks, see where you went wrong, and rectify it. Because I would say again, the more mistakes you make, the more it plays in the back of your mind, you won't repeat again. You never know that question is coming in your paper or not. The more you solve, the more tests you give, the more confidence you get. Confidence plays a major role in those 3 hours. Because on the 3 hours, you see people are solving questions. You don't know whether you're lagging behind, whether you are what you are doing. The mind, the state of mind is very important. Additionally to your preparation, I would say. And giving mock test, but I would say that accuracy is very important because the more mock tests you give, you have an idea about how many questions you should attempt. When I started, my accuracy, I would see that it was 75% or so. And by the end of the before the day of the GPAT exam, I could achieve like 80 to 85% accuracy, which made me I would calculate how many questions should I attempt and how many mistakes I am going to make. I had this idea. So in the final exam, I did so. I attempted the questions like one, that I would make 20-30 mistakes. I attempted questions like that. For NIPER also, NIPER is also a game of accuracy. You have just questions more because in NIPER, a 0.25 mark difference can make your rank go 10 to 1. So I was aware of that. Even my teacher said that see, the accuracy is really important. So when I was giving mock tests for 9 also, I could see that I was making 20 to 25 mistakes. So I attempted my questions in the final exam according to that. So practice is very important for confidence, for accuracy, and also for getting that answer of the questions.
Great. So I think another point you mentioned is that regular question answer or regular practice is really very important. Regular MC practice is really very important. Now, coming to back the one thing which you mentioned, that the online classes, especially you mentioned that pharmacognosy class and the chemistry class, they were really beneficial to you. So how was this online classroom, especially these classrooms were during the COVID period times, and we know that these classrooms are mostly a one directed classroom, so only the faculty speaks and the students does, and the faculty really does not care about or does not know that are the students listening, or the student does not have a proper gauge through that part once that's in the offline classes which is occurring. So how was your experience of these classes during the COVID times?
After getting demotivated by the classes which were happening in college, I thought it better. So here the environment was totally different. It was not a one-way interaction. Whenever the faculty used to deliver a lecture, after teaching for 15 minutes, they would ask questions to see if the students were attending or not. So if you call the student's name and see that person not responding, obviously you will know that that person is not listening. So a track was kept, and every student was attending to that because every faculty was asking questions. So that kept us, we were in the terror that whose name will come. So it was manageable, and the interaction was two-way because sometimes some questions were also asked by the students. We also had our doubts, they answered. And then there were motivation sessions also were organized where past students of Gpat tutorial would come, and then they would interact with us, share their strategies. It was a very nice environment, I would say. And I did not feel that I was in an online class. And I would also say that there is an advantage of this online class. Suppose there is some holiday and there is some day where you cannot go offline. The online classes were on and we didn't miss any single day. There was hybrid mode in the last when it was on heat control, offline classes resumed, but our faculty had kept the online classes. So sometimes when I didn't attend or I was sick, I would attend the class from back home. They would interact with me just like they used to do in offline classes. So I didn't feel any difference of offline and online in Gpat.
Great to know from you, Atreyee. And finally, what I would rather come to one part is that you also mentioned that the institute had actually conducted, which is I think one of the major USPs of Gpat tutorial, that to conduct every week examination, and that examination would be just like the Gpat examination. So how do you and another part is the study material part which they actually provided, right? So what was your take on the study material part and the questions that was conducted in the every week mock test?
So questions were exactly from the books. They would go line to line from the books and they would frame the questions. Sometimes even this happened that I have answered the question, maybe they have framed the question from such depth that I couldn't see that, but after seeing that mock test paper, then I would say, hey, I have to study that also. It's like that happened. And study material, it was given, I would say it was very good that study material was given in the last, I guess when we were in 8th sem, last 3 to 4 months or 6 months before the Gpat exam, so that the students don't leave the habit of reading the books, because once the study material sets in, the students don't have to study that books. So they gave the study material for revision mostly. There were one-liners and all. For quick revision, it was a very beneficial thing. But I was again someone who was that standard person. So I referred to those notes, and before the 2-3 weeks before the exam, I referred to the study material just to revise.
Great. Atreyee, so finally coming to the most important thing, which all the GPAT aspirants would be, gauging in this interview is that a month before the GPAT examination. Okay, so your strategy, your comprehensive revision calendar, your thought process, how would GPAT is coming now? It's just knocking at the door. What's your take was there?
Before 1 month, I thought I forgot everything. Whatever I studied, I forgot. Nothing was there. I was the day the notification came that okay, second week is your GPAT exam. I tried to do it. Nothing. All 2 years of hard work, everything. So you have to. This happens, I guess, with every aspirant. To gather yourself, calm, see how at which level you are. See them. I would say before 1 month, don't start anything new. If many people will come and say, okay, you have read this, I have read this, you haven't. They will play with your emotions, but don't do that. Whatever you have studied is enough. So what you can do is see how much you have covered, make a routine according to that. Try to, I would say, at that time, try to cover 2 subjects, make a routine like 3 subjects, 2 major subjects and 1 minor subject in a day. Try to cover, not much, don't try to read it. See the questions, see whatever you have done in this one year on the margins you have done, revise that, don't go for reading the chapter. Go and read, open a chapter, see the points you have marked, the markings, the small notes you have done, the questions you have done. That is a way of revising. Don't go and study the whole chapter again, because if you study a chapter, it will take 3 hours and then the whole day you are wasted. So study that, you know everything, just you have to revise it. And I would say give tests, 1 month tests are very important. See time management, see on if you can try to solve a 3 hour paper in hours, I would say, because you never know at that time. Any technical things may happen, which happened in NIPER this year. So you have to maintain your calm and don't eat healthy, be healthy. Talk to your teachers, because this is the time when you need motivation, you need confidence. Talk to your teachers, talk to your parents, talk to anybody who will comfort you, and just believe in yourself. It's a game of patience and perseverance. Just 1 month, you have worked hard. Just wait for the results.
Right. So, thank you, Atreyee, for such a wonderful talk and such a motivational talk indeed. Also, especially the GPAT aspirants would be definitely eagerly waiting to have a good talk with you later, some part of your life, and then we definitely motivate them. So, thank you, Atreyee, and I wish you all the happy and the great future ahead.
Thank you.